we do realize that growth is the key to making more money. It's the key to being indispensable in the organization.
Think about what it is that you have to sell, because everybody has something to sell. Ask your people 3 questions. Where do you see yourself going? What's it going to take to get there? And are you willing to pay the price?
Who is going to be the people mentoring your new people? You're probably going to get the worst possible person.
Right. The bad people are like amoebas. Hey there, I'm Jeff Cordes, and welcome to the C.R.A.P Leadership Podcast. My philosophy is about C.R.A.P. Caring, respect, appreciation, and praise.
And this is Randy Walensky. Been a speaker, trainer, sales professional, and coach for over 10 years, using all of Jeff's C.R.A.P. And we want to bring these principles to you in your organization. Let's jump in. Hello, today we are talking about growth, specifically that you need to help your employees grow or you are going to watch them go. They're going to leave the organization.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as an employee retention consultant, I can tell you one of the things I hear about from millennials and Gen Zs is that they don't want to be in a situation where they're stagnant. And looking at all the statistics, everything I've seen, I saw one study that said 83% of millennials really want to grow, or they would think about leaving their organization. 83%. And with 75% of your workforce being millennials and Gen Zs, you're looking at a phenomenal number of people who are thinking about leaving your organization if you're not helping them grow. I mean, that should be scary to you.
100%. We were chatting about this, you and I, Jeff, when we were on stage training about millennials. We go, what the heck's wrong with all of us? What's wrong with millennials? That growth is the number one. I thought it's about the money. I thought it's about this. Growth, why is that? Of course, though, right? As we discussed there, and we'll do that here, we do realize that growth is the key to making more money. It's the key to being indispensable in the organization. You know, we're no dummies in that respect. We've seen people get let go because they weren't, providing additional value. And we're just hungry to learn as well. We're a generation that's grown up on information, instant information all the time. We really, I would say, even are addicted to learning new things and to growing. And we're going to feel stagnant and feel like we need to shake things up and make a change if we don't have the opportunity in your organization.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm also a headhunter as part of what I do. You know, I don't know if the audience knows that at this point based on podcasts we've done, but I can tell you when myself, my recruiter called into an organization and we asked them, why would you think about leaving? They said, well, I'm bored. And I asked them to elaborate and they said, well, yeah, I'm just doing the same old thing day after day. I don't learn anything like that. And, yeah, I mean, these young people are not dummies. And with the world changing as fast as it is, they realize if we don't stay relevant and learn and grow, we're in deep trouble.
I think part of it there too is, as you said that about the recruiter and the person. Yeah, I've heard of younger people. They're 25 and they're taking a sabbatical, and they're 30 and they're trying to find themselves. And I think there's also a setup for what they thought work was going to be. And so there's even an opportunity there with the growth of planning the growth for your employees and showing them, but also letting them know how long it's going to take, setting expectations. Because a lot of
Yep.
times we used to joke about this, that your younger person's there for 2 weeks and they're like, when's the promotion? Is it coming soon? 2 more weeks, and do I get a new title? You have to set expectations and actually explain, hey, you're in this role and you're doing this and you need to learn all the different aspects of it. It's going to take you about this amount of time, but say a year or 2 years from now, you're going to be ready to take on maybe a leadership role or to change into another part of the organization. You really have to set up your expectations so people know a roadmap of what their growth looks like, so they aren't wondering.
Yeah, you have to connect the dots for people, because if you don't connect the dots, they're going to speculate. And when they speculate, that's dangerous, because then they're starting to wonder, well, these people don't care about me, and they start to have certain assumptions, and that's when you're going to run the opportunity to lose people. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's a huge issue.
Mhm. What do you think an organization needs to do, Jeff, if they don't currently have maybe a growth system? They don't have it. It's just kind of been organic, or they don't have a lot of people that are directly in charge of it, but the leader sees that there's a gap there and that they need to start providing that for their people. Where would you tell them to start in the area of growth?
I think the area I tell them to start is, you know, ask the people who you want to grow how they want to grow. I
Hmm.
mean, this is to me, it's pretty simple stuff. Why would you as a leader want to speculate? Just ask them, hey, look, our organization is relatively flat. We don't have a lot of promotions or room for upward advancement. But how else can I help you grow in your role?
Hmm.
They'll have ideas that you never thought about because it's about their career. So just ask them. I think that's one of the biggest things is ask your employees. What do you think are ways that you could grow? I mean, that would be my first takeaway. I would say, look, um, ask your people about how they want to grow. It's the easiest way to start developing a structured opportunity for them.
Mm. I had a young lady I was working with at one point, and she was going in for job interviews. And she went into an organization, and she's probably about 5 minutes in. And the leader, he happened to be the owner as well, says to her, "Hey, listen, one of the biggest things we have problems with is people get into this role and then they leave after a short amount of time. And this is how it works. It's me. I'm the owner of this clinic. It's you answering the phone, scheduling, working with the people, and there's nowhere to go in between. There's nothing to do. It's me and this. Are you okay with that?" And I went, "Oh my goodness,
That's a Homer Simpson moment.
don't."
Don't right?
Well, it's like you should have advertised dead end job looking for someone for whatever 15, $12 an
Don't
hour.
apply.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the absolute most silliest thing to do. And here's what I said as soon as I heard that, and I had that Homer Simpson moment. You said, "Oh, what a fool that person was." Is you always have something to sell. He had something to
Yeah.
sell if he knew what she wanted. So it goes right back to your point. If he said, "Okay, here's the role, here's the things, but what are you really looking to do for your career?" And let's say she wanted to get into a bigger practice at some point. She wanted to run her own. She wanted to do XYZ. Then what he would have needed to do is take the current role that he was offering and go, "You know what? If we connect this, this, and this, and you're going to learn from me here how to run a whole business. I'll mentor you on this area. I'll do this because I know this is a stepping stone for you. You're going to be going somewhere else, but I can give you XYZ opportunities while you're with me." That would have been a totally different
Oh yeah,
conversation.
totally different picture. I mean, if every owner or leader or whatever has to talk about, well, everybody has something to offer. I mean, and as an HR person, I mean, I built my career on going into turnaround operations. Sometimes I had growth, sometimes I didn't, but most of the people I went to work for, they told me what they could do for me. And I've had
Mm,
organizations tell me when I was in HR, well, job's probably good for 2 to 3 years for you, but here's how I can help you grow so you're ready for the next step. That's the way you have to do it. I mean,
mhm,
you can't just say, yeah, well, you know what, this is a dead end job. You're going nowhere. Like you said, I mean, not only will you scare off candidates, but in some ways, you're doing a disservice to those people who are applying because everyone has something to offer. And again, that would be another takeaway, and I just popped into my mind right now, is look at what you have to offer to a potential candidate and talk to them about growth. Because if it's a dead end job, there's ways that you can help people grow, mentoring, um,
mhm.
guidance, um, there's a variety of things, and we'll get into some of those a little bit later in the
Specific
podcast.
training. We talked about this last
Yeah,
time with about listening. What if it's like, hey, here at our organization, you're going to be doing this. This is your day to day, but also there's continued growth. I'm going to put you through this training. We're going to sign up for this thing, and you're going to be able to do this during XYZ time. You're going to continue to feed your mind and your abilities that are going to help you be better. Conflict resolution. I mean, you could pick a million areas to improve yourself on that would be applicable to that role to improve outcomes for you in the office and actually get an ROI on that, and then keep that person. So many opportunities,
right.
but you have to plan for it. You can't just hope and let it happen by happenstance.
Well, I've actually had that with clients of mine where I'm doing leadership training, where they bring in those folks who are high potential.
Mm,
They're not in leadership roles, but that's one of the things that they pointed out to them is, look, we're preparing you. If ultimately you decide to go before we have an opportunity, you can say, I learned this when I was at company X.
mm,
And that is, I mean, again, that's powerful
mm,
because young people are always looking for ways to grow. And you just gotta, in my opinion, you got to think out of the box. That would be another one of my takeaways is think out of the box.
mm,
How can you help people? How can you help people grow? Is it mentorship? Is it learning or with
mm,
online courses? Is it heading up meetings? Is it going to seminars and coming back and report to your colleagues? Again, all those things that are important in the next step. And
mm,
and I think the other thing I think that's really super important um, is you want to ask your people 3 questions. So I'm rolling into a bunch of takeaways right now. 3 questions. Where do you see yourself going? Your job is not to facilitate. Your job is not to tell them where they're going. Right. Your job is to facilitate the conversation so
mm,
that they start thinking about. Because a lot of young people, I was there. You know, we kind of sort of maybe had ideas, uh, but I had a boss who asked me 3 questions, and they were how would I describe them? Groundbreaking for me.
mm,
And he asked me, "Where do you see yourself going? All right, what's it going to take to get there?" And then
mm,
I think the most important one he asked me was at the end, right? Because anytime you want to grow, it's gonna take some work generally. And he asked, "Are you willing to pay the price?"
mm,
Because all of a sudden, and good or bad in someone's career, they might say, "Hey, you know what? I'm not going to get my master's degree ever, and if that's what I need, well, then this isn't for me."
mm.
But ask your people 3 questions: Where do you see yourself going? What's it going to take to get there? And are you willing to pay the price?
Those are writer downers. Those are
Right.
really good. That's a great conversation to have with a new person on your team, a person who's been there 6 months, a person you're just taking over, whatever the case would be. Asking them those questions. And the last one really puts them in the driver's seat. It puts them in
Absolutely.
the area where you have to decide what are you willing to sacrifice because you aren't going to accidentally show up somewhere, right? You're going to have to make sacrifices. If they did say, "Oh, I'll get my MBA because I do want to be at the upper levels of management," I know that's a requirement. Great. So, what are you going to do to get that? Are you going to start doing classes at nights? Are you going to do online courses? When are you going to have time to do it? You just have a new baby. You just got married. When are you going to do this? You at least get their mind thinking, which is another key part of mentorship. Those are great questions for a mentor to ask to somebody who doesn't know, and even goes back to what you said about asking people. Sometimes they don't know. They don't know, and they haven't even sat and thought about it. They've got pie in the sky ideas of what could be possible, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take over the world. But there's always a cost to it. There's always a cost to
Right.
getting to where you want to go. And that's the reality that a mentor can bring. And that might even be a good way to frame it and say, well, how could you find out? What do you think you need? Where could you get the information? There's definitely ways to put it back on them, and asking him those questions is a powerful tool that any leader could use, any mentor could use.
Well, a lot of people, a lot of leaders think if I ask them that question, they're going to start thinking about their career. Where can I go? And maybe this isn't the place for me.
Hmm.
I found it was just the opposite, because when my boss slash mentor asked me that question, I started thinking about it. I said, well, you know what? I need to do this, this, and this, and I'm really not ready. And the guy I was working for was great,
Mm,
phenomenal mentor. And so what I saw is, well, I need to stick around
mm,
because this guy can teach me so much
mhm,
that I stuck around instead of whereas I probably, if I hadn't thought about it, hadn't thought about where I could grow and where I should go with my career, I probably would have bolted.
mm.
And I didn't, because he asked me the three questions.
Well, and I that you just brought up a good point as well. Maybe staying somewhere is like, hey, if you're at this organization, if you have this to sell, you have to figure out as an organization, what do you have to offer? And if you have a certain brand, you have a certain reputation, people know you great for training, people know you great for producing leaders or whatever the case would be, then just having more time in that position, in what you're doing, says, oh, you were with them for 3 years. What was that like? Oh, I learned this, I did this, I had this opportunity. They created this special role for me. I got to head up this committee. Whereas you aren't going to have that opportunity in every different organization. And especially when you're looking at your map of your growth and where you want to end up, that could be a key part of it, of staying somewhere with the right leader for an extra year or two. Right. That's a
Yeah.
great other way to retain people. I know you've told me this before, Jeff, and I don't know if you have any good stories of that or just the general lesson.
I have
Like,
stories about everything, Randy.
I feel like I've got some here too today. I got two or three more I could throw out here if I want, but um, of staying somewhere maybe longer than you technically should have, but it was just because you had such a positive relationship with
Right.
that leader that you didn't want to leave and maybe risk that or didn't want to ever. But if all things were being neutral, you would have left. That's a huge competitive advantage.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, uh, oftentimes, particularly now, I see it. Again, doing my search work, a lot of people bolt before they should,
Mm,
prematurely. I, I don't know what accounts for it, but they do. And I've had cases where I've talked to people and they weren't ready for the role, but they thought they were. And
mm,
I would say to them, look, you got all this experience, but here's what you need to get in order to be ready to go to that next level.
mm,
And uh, apparently their mentor isn't giving them anything, and around that. So I step in as a professional search person, and I say, well, you're not ready yet. I hate to tell you that. I'd love to be able to put you in for this role, but you're not ready.
you don't have
And
the
then I
experience.
you don't have the experience, you don't have certain skills, whatever the case might be. But that's why I am one of my biggest cases for mentorship in organizations is you can't leave mentorship to chance.
Mm,
By having mentors, it also helps you retain people because um, and when I say a mentor, I mean I was blessed. I had mentors who just happened to be there. But I've worked with clients of mine and I've told them you need to build a former mentorship program. You cannot leave mentorship to chance in this day and age. It's
mm.
different. You got to build that mentorship program, um, help people grow in the organization because that's going to dramatically increase the likelihood that you're going to keep people in the organization. And eventually they might leave, but you probably kept them for 2, 3, 4 years longer than maybe you would have
Mm.
because they love their mentor, they're learning, they're growing, and they feel good about themselves.
Well, and if you don't choose who is going to be the people mentoring your new people, you're probably going to get the worst possible person.
Right.
Because the toxic people, if you have a big enough organization where you can afford to have those people, because certain size organizations, you need to get rid of the toxic people. But if it's a big enough organization, they're going to be there lurking in the shadows. Okay. And let's say you don't have a formal process that new person comes in. Well, they're going to ask the wrong person a question. That person's going, this stupid place. They're always doing that. It's always disorganized. It's always whatever. Oh, another one. That's who's going to get that. And they might even glom onto that new person because they want to get more people on their side and the dark side over there complaining about things or seeing things from their perspective. They want to tell everybody about all the bad news of the organization. You do not want to take your new people and risk poisoning them
Right.
against the organization because you don't realize you've got a toxic employee working there.
Well, what happens is if you don't have a formal mentoring program and people don't have mentors, like they use the term glom onto them. Yeah, they're like the bad people are like amoebas. And they poison people, and then you've got a whole host of other issues you might have to deal with in the organization. But yeah, so if you have something that's formal, you're pairing them with the right people. Uh, they're growing. They create that pipeline within the organization for future leadership, whatever the case is. So definitely, I mean, that would be my last takeaway is you want to develop a formal mentoring program. You don't want to leave it to chance.
So good. Well, we got to bring this up. We got to wrap it up, Jeff. Just like that, time flies here in these little tidbits that we're bringing in. So, can you recap that for us? Just give us again quick context, a couple takeaways that people can have, start implementing, start thinking about in their organization.
Right. The first one would be is when you're talking with someone. Again, it's more kind of the recruiting side. You need to think about what it is that you have to sell, because everybody has something to sell, no matter what. Okay. The second one would be is ask them the three questions. Where do you see yourself going? What's it going to take to get there? And are you willing to pay the price? Again, for me, that was career altering. So
Mm.
those three questions are huge. Again, I'll do it again. Where do you see yourself going? What's it going to take to get there? And are you willing to pay the price? And the last thing is lean towards a formal mentoring program. Do not leave it to chance, because it's going to hurt you in the long run as an organization, and it's going to hurt your people.
Mm. And I even think just the whole episode, you have to have a growth opportunities for your employees. We talked a lot about younger people, but older people are the same way. They're still, even if they're, XYZ, everybody loves to learn and to grow and to feel like the company cares about you and is investing in you, investing money, investing time, whatever it takes to give you where you feel like you're getting better by working somewhere. So definitely help them grow. You do not want to have brain drain. You don't want to have people sucked out of your
Right.
organization. Don't watch them go. Keep those people in there because you're investing time and money into their learning.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm Jeff Cordes.
Randy
Remember,
Wolinsky.
give your employees crap. Why? Because crap works.
Hey, that's it for today. We'll catch you guys next week.